Welcome back to part 3 of building our dream unit. In the last episode we built this stunning media wall, applied the acrylic signs, we got the hex lights up and we even started the flooring. In this episode we have got a ton of work to do. We need to get the flooring finished and we need to build our dream office area upstairs on the mezzanine floor. So let's head straight up there. We're back up on the mezzanine floor. Now we need to lay some hardwood flooring up here so it's easily moppable, wipeable and looks a lot better than this pine that's down at the moment. So this is what I've brought. It looks quite light on the photo. It's actually like a dark grey colour. We've gone for an 8mm laminate floor which is going to sit on top of this pine. Before we lay any flooring we need to get this mezzanine floor cleared off. At the minute it's full of camp chairs, hose pipes, jet washers and even golf clubs at the back. It's all got to come off here so it's nice and clean so we can get that new flooring laid. We quickly moved pretty much everything off the mezzanine, but the only thing that was left was that damn socket set. We turned it upside down and it had gone everywhere. All 300 pieces had fell out, so it took us about half an hour to put all that back together. And once all the mezzanine floor was cleared, we could then start laying the hardwood flooring. We had a great system in place where I'd do the technical marking, Rich would go downstairs, cut the boards, bring it back up to me, and then I'd carry on laying them down. And we just did this until the whole floor was finished. Welcome to our mezzanine floor. One thing we haven't spoken about at all on the channel yet that you've probably seen in every video is this 2-post ramp. Now, when we got the lease to the unit, the old tenant asked us if we wanted to buy this ramp to save him moving it when he moved out. We got it at a good price, we said yes, but the longer we've thought about it, the more we've realised it's just not the ramp for us. So we've made the decision to sell it. You're probably wondering why we've made the decision to sell it, and I'm going to explain that to you now. So one of the main reasons is the actual position of the ramp. At the minute it's all bolted and resined into place on the left hand side of the unit, and the way the shutters are, it makes a lot more sense for it to be on the right angled than the left straight, and that's mainly because of the toilet block. When you're reversing it at the moment it's really tight to get any car on the ramp. There is one other big reason. We need a ramp that's going to suffice all types of cars, low, high, big and small. The main reason why we need to get rid of this ramp is these arms. The ramp's nearly 20 years old and it's not built for lowered cars. If we wanted to put any car that we own at the moment on this ramp, it'd have to go onto wooden blocks, put the arms underneath, then raise it up, and it's just not going to be feasible for us. There's no way of lowering these arms either. It's just because of how old the ramp is. So we've made the decision to take the loss now on the ramp, sell it for slightly cheaper than we paid for it a month ago, and then buy a brand new one in the coming weeks. You'll have to stay tuned for that because we haven't decided what brand or what type of ramp to go for yet. The guy who's buying the ramp off us is about 5 minutes away, so I need to get a move on and move all this stuff out of the way so we can get this ramp out and sold to him. Let's make a start. So I have absolutely zero experience removing 2-post ramps, but as you'll see in the video, the arms have to come off first, then the lung towers, and then the centre section comes away. I didn't realise how heavy a 2-post ramp actually was. It was a big struggle to get it onto that low loader. I'd like to just give a big shout out to Ian and his stepson for removing the ramp so quickly and efficiently. I could not have done it without you. So, in this video we're going to be bouncing between the mezzanine and down here. Obviously we've got to get both finished and we've got like literally 7 working days until we decide to open our doors. The ramp's now gone. The lads collected it last night. It's given us a lot more space. The ramp is coming back. We're just going to go for a new ramp. The reminiscence from the old ramps. We've got bolts sticking out the floor, which Rich is going to cut off in a second. We're then going to clean this section of the unit, get it fully painted out so we can still walk around this section. This is going to be painted and tiled, ready to go. We've got cars arriving in here on the 1st of November for work to be done, so we've got to have a section where we can work on them. We're going to finish this section first, do the floor, get the tiles down. No messing about, we've got an hour left until the end of the day. Let's get this smashed out. Rich grinded the bolts out from the old ramp. I went round with a brush, we tied it up, and then it was time to get painting. If you enjoy transformations, you're really going to enjoy this part. my mum popped by for a bit of moral support. And then after about half an hour, that section of the floor was complete. So that's one section of the floor painted. We now need to tidy up all of this and somehow get rid of it so we can paint that section. Let's go. How we found space for everything, I'll still never know, but after a good 10 minutes of playing Tetris, we were ready to paint. Right, this part of the floor is now clean. We've just been to IKEA and fetched a load of stuff for the office and the mezzanine upstairs, which we've got to get in out the van, so in front of the camera here. Load all the stuff we've just moved into the van, and then paint this before we leave tonight. Let's not waste any time, straight back to it. The unit is finally clean, everything's in the van, all the IKEA stuff's now up on the mezzanine ready for the next part of the video. But first, we've got to paint this floor. Don't worry, I know the camera's over there, and we're going to paint the floor and we're not going to be able to get back to the camera. We're going to leave a little walkway so we can come and turn the camera off and then move it. You're going to laugh, we've got a first world problem. So the floor's still wringing wet. It is the day after we painted it. We were hoping it was dry. I am dying for the toilet, but unfortunately the toilet is across the pond. I'm going to show you how we're going to get to the toilet now. You ready? There's only one problem here, I'm about 5'2". See you shortly.
And by 5'2", he means 4'2".
We've just been over to the tile suppliers. We've cleared him out of the rest of the dark grey that he's got until his new container arrives. We're pretty sure we haven't got enough dark grey to finish the unit all the way to the roller shutters, but we've got a plan in place. In any normal situation, we wouldn't be laying the grey tiles over the wet grey floor underneath, but we've got 7 days, actually no, it's 6 days now. We've got 6 days until we open our doors for our first bookings. We've not got any time to waste. We've got to get this unit done and ready to open. So the first thing we're going to do today is get the rest of these grey tiles down, and let's see how far we can get towards the door. So in the previous video we'd only laid about 10 square metres of flooring. The section you're about to see right here is about another 35 or 40 square metres. You'll probably notice that me and Rich are really starting to work well together now. He understands what I need and I understand what he needs, and we work around each other. It's almost effortless. We're flying. We've got probably 30 square metres down now. So we've done up to here where we can. Rich is quickly going to paint here and I'm going to follow him along. We're going to put the tiles down wet over the paint. I know it's not ethical or anything like that, but we haven't got time. That's what we're going to do. This section's already painted. I'm going to focus on doing the cuts around here now, getting this section made while Rich finishes the painting. Come on, let's go. The cuts are definitely what takes the longest, but luckily I've got quite a bit of experience in laying floors. At this point I was still trying to get the floor down, but constantly looking up just to see if we had enough tiles to complete another full row. As I mentioned earlier, the cuts take the longest. These 6 or 7 cuts that you see here literally took longer than laying the whole floor. Final piece to the puzzle. These are the end trims so the cars can drive up and onto the netted tiles that we've just put down. Let's get these in place and then I'm going to show you how good it looks. These end pieces act as a little ramp for the cars to drive onto the tiles safely to stop them snapping. And would you look at that? I'd say that's a job well done. That is the floor complete. It took about an hour to lay down with me and Rich and it looks amazing. We're over the moon with it. There is one slight problem that we spoke about earlier, and that is our supplier is out of grey floor tiles until his container arrives from China in about a month's time. So we've made the decision to stop the tiles at the moment at where the toilet starts, and we've put down an edging strip so the cars can safely drive up onto the tiles. Once his container arrives, we're going to get some more and then go all the way to the end of the unit. But for the time being, this is just going to stay freshly painted grey. The next thing we've got to focus on, I think, I'm going to set Rich on the task of fabricating a handrail for this staircase. I'm going to give him free rein on what he wants to do with it. At the moment, when people walk up, you can easily fall off the side. And as you know, we're all about health and safety here. So, Rich is going to do that, and me and his partner Sarah are going to go upstairs and start cracking on with unboxing all the IKEA stuff and building our dream office area. Come on, follow me up. We need to get the upstairs of the mezzanine floor boxed off and finished. There are 3 things left to do. Number 1 is easy, ornaments and decorations and softening stuff up. That's not a problem, we can do that later on. The other big thing, electrics. Steve's just been round.
With the connectors on, in that box.
Yeah.
It'll be nightmare.
Giving us a diagram so we can work from that now with the conduit and the wiring of the electrics for everything up here. At the minute we haven't got any form of electrics, but that's all going to change. And the last thing is we need somewhere to edit our videos, do social media and everything else that comes with it. We have brought pretty much the whole of IKEA here. Everything is stacked up and ready to go. And we wasted absolutely no time. Me and Sarah opened pretty much every box we brought from IKEA. I'm talking desks, coffee tables, computer chairs, and even plants. I always love a plant from IKEA. Who doesn't? This section of the mezzanine is going to be our office desk area. Originally it was going to be over the roller shutters, but we've done some measurements and we're not going to have enough room underneath the roller shutter to put our knees under with the countertop length, if that makes sense. So we've just built up the IKEA desks. Let's get them into place. Now I know those 2 desks don't look much at the moment, but you know when I keep saying, trust the vision, just you wait. The IKEA furniture just kept on coming, box after box we were unloading and building up, and I cannot thank Sarah enough for the effort she put in with this furniture. So, I may have brought one too many plants at IKEA. You know what I'm like when I go there. We haven't got a lot of headspace on the mezzanine, but we thought we'd drop a shelf up above the desks to hang the plant that I'd brought. I couldn't let it go to waste. Believe it or not, we had that much fun building up the IKEA furniture, we actually went back for round 2. This time, getting more chairs and even more plants. Next up was the start of the number plate making station and the storage area above the roller shutter. I feel like in the long run we may have gone a bit overkill with this section, but it does look epic, as you'll see later on in the video. And while all this was going on upstairs, it actually turned out that Rich had a big problem downstairs. So Rich has got a big problem. For some reason his welding mask has reacted and he can't see nothing out of it, so when he's trying to weld the frame he can't physically see anything. It's a Saturday evening at 5 o'clock and nowhere we can find locally has got a welding mask in stock. It's all next day delivery or back open Monday. So we're going to have to make some phone calls and see if we can borrow a favour off someone. So after ringing round, we cannot find a welding mask for Rich tonight or this side of the weekend as it stands. So Rich has come up with a really good idea. He's going to demonstrate to you what a squint weld is. Let me show you. How's the squint weld going?
Making sure I get the timing right.
The unit is looking really messy again. We've just unboxed half of IKEA upstairs and threw it off the balcony down just because it's easier, but now we need to clean it up. So cue the time lapse. While While we tidied up the unit, Rich carried on with his squint welding. He's actually getting pretty good at this now. And just like that, the frame for the staircase was up and in place.
Hello and welcome to another video of Squint Whilst You Weld.
Rich may be a bit camera shy, but he honestly is starting to come out his shell, and he's one of the funniest, soundest lads I know. So by some magic, the frame that Rich had built was square, but we did agree that it needed a support arm down the middle of the frame, so Rich quickly welded that up into place. So imagine this for an idea. If you look at the mezzanine floor that we did the railing, the wires are running straight, which looks incredible, like it's $1 million, but we're all about doing something custom and we want to do something different for you guys. So, with this railing here, Rich has just packed it all into place, it looks brilliant. We've had an idea with the wiring. Rather than running them straight or parallel up, we're going to go for the world's first sunbeam effect. Now you're probably wondering what a sunbeam is. It's like this, yeah? So we're going to have a fixed point at the top, and then coming down at different positions, we're going to have multiple cables, so it creates that sunbeam effect coming off it. We don't know if it's going to work. I've never seen it done before, but we're going to give it a go. So let's get to cutting. It's quite easy to say now, watching this back and doing the voiceovers, but at the time we thought it was going to be a brilliant idea, but I can assure you, it was the worst idea we've ever come up with. We started off by taping up 8 wires together in a circular pattern, and then Rich welded them together. The idea was we'd drill a hole through the metal railing and then attach the wires on the outside. I'm just going to change the position of the camera and look at this for a guess. I'd say that's perfection.
That is perfection, mate. That is.
As I mentioned just, rather than attaching the wires, we actually decided to weld the wires to the frame, which was one of the biggest mistakes we've made. After that, we decided to put the wires into position and then mark where the holes needed to be drilled through each arm of the frame. And once all those holes had been drilled, we then started feeding the wires through. Now this was the worst part about it all. Trying to get a 3mm wire through a 4mm hole on a diagonal was just neon impossible. It took hours. I then clamped each cable and Rich welded them into place. This process went on for so long that Rich had actually lost his marbles.
Hang on, let me think here. So it's currently 8:34 at night. I've dragged Sarah down here as well and brought a bit of a Domino's pizza to keep her happy. Me and Jack tried doing a sunburst effect, but we don't like it. So my job tonight is to cut all these off, weld up all the holes and start again.
It was that long of a day. I'd gone home at this point, but Rich was a proper trooper. He had the dominoes to keep him company, oh, and Sarah, and he actually undid everything that we'd just done. You're probably wondering why we're undoing everything. Well, the cables that we'd welded into place really weren't tensioned properly, and they're actually quite flimsy. You can't win every time. Sometimes you have to accept defeat, reset yourself, and go again. As it stands, the downstairs section of the unit is still messy. There's more painting that needs doing. So, we need to paint down the either side of the media wall. We need to finish the stencils on the walls. Where the ramp's been moved from, there's a big section of white that we couldn't get behind with the paintbrush or the sprayer. We've got to sort that out, as well as touching up the rest of the walls. So, let's get straight to it. Come on. It may look like I'm just painting black over black here, but if you look really closely you can see lots of little white dots on the wall. That's how pernickety we are being with this unit. We want it to be perfect. Something that we've been putting off for a while now was getting these stencils finished. They are super awkward to line up and get right and somewhat straight, but we made it happen. Next on the list was to finally sort this packing area. We moved the IKEA boxes out the way that me and Sarah had built and started working on framework to get them mounted up towards the ceiling. We also started building the lower framework ready for the countertops, but we had to ensure that the roller shutters, when wound all the way up, weren't going to catch on the framework. Once we were 100% sure we knew the framework was clearing the shutters when they were wound up, we then decided to start cutting the worktops and trying to get them onto the mezzanine. As you'll see from this next video, it was far from easy. A 3-metre worktop with 2 of you is heavy, to say the least. Alex then had to shoot home, which left me on my own to finish attaching the worktops to the frame. I then went along and added the 8 storage baskets to the shelves, cut the ply to the right length and width and started attaching that with a load of screws, working my way along, and just like that, the framework was finished. So I'm going to move to the iPhone camera now because the lighting's so much better on the iPhone. The other camera just doesn't do it justice. We've got a little tools area here where we're probably going to end up actually having our kettle and microwave in this section. This is taking shape. This is going to be storage and where we make our number plates on top. Then moving on, we've got this area here. So we need to build a balcony here to stop people falling down. That is on Rich's list to do. We've had a lovely lamp from IKEA that's going to give like a really dim light. This light is going. This is going to now be painted black. And we've got to put the edging strips on the worktops. Don't worry, this is not staying all black. We've got something really special for here. And before you ask, it's not a sign. Moving on past the mezzanine, obviously we've got our nice seating area here if you just want to have a chill and relax. And then coming towards the end, we've now put the worktop across the top. And these are the desks. We've still got to trim the edges of the worktop and do all that out. But yeah, we're going to have sort of a computer here and maybe a laptop here, secondary desk for anyone else that wants to work at it. And then if you look down, we're going to have a lovely view of all the cars downstairs. So, although the headspace is not that high, we've actually made use of a lot of area here. It's going to look really nice once it's done. I then took the time to paint the counters black and went back downstairs, and that only left one thing to do, and that was prep for this car that's arriving in the morning. Well, I feel like this has been a really long time coming, but just over 2 weeks since we got the keys to the unit, it's now in a state to accept its first car in less than 12 hours time. It's super late at the time of recording this and I'm absolutely shattered. I've done everything in my willpower today to get the unit somewhat acceptable to take this car in the morning. We have got one video left, video 4, and that is going to be finishing this unit for good, and then the proper content will start. I cannot wait to show you what we've got in store. I cannot thank every single person enough that has watched this video. The first 2 videos at the point of recording I think are near 50,000 views now with over 2,000 subscribers, and it's just unbelievable the response we've had from our first 2 ever videos on YouTube. I cannot thank you enough. If you've enjoyed watching this video, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I think it's like 90% of the people watching this video and the previous videos aren't yet subscribed. Please subscribe, you're going to miss out on some great content if you don't. And thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.